Hey folks, and welcome to another episode of Crit Hit Reviews with your host, Arlyeon. On today's episode, I'll be talking about Hunchback Studios' turn-based bullet heck, The Treehouse Man. Find out if this gloomy-looking title grew on me, or if I would have preferred to branch out to other titles. Also, find out if my editor Shrimp makes like a tree and leaves because of my wooden delivery on these jokes, or if the urge to indulge in these has finally taken root. P.S. Sorry for all the low-hanging fruit, but these puns were a treat to make. So, The Treehouse Man follows the tale of a cute-looking dweeb with a lantern who's almost immediately press-ganged into the role of being a ferryman in a forest full of corrupt abominations. Your cruise to hell has a singular goal: to reach the Treehouse Man in the hopes of seeing if this mysterious and much-revered benefactor can somehow undo the festering evil which has overtaken the wood. Honestly, things start out fairly straightforward narratively, but by talking to all the NPCs you meet, you slowly piece together more and more about the events of the game. In fact, some of the NPCs you chat with will join you on your moonlit cruise and have different kernels of sometimes lore-laden dialogue to share with you at each new base camp you find. That said, perhaps the most enlightening bits of story you'll end up discovering are those which are hidden in the bottled messages you encounter. Whilst wholly optional to collect, these messages provide a fair amount of insight into what led to the events of the game and also serve to make that already grim scenario even darker. So it's like pretty great. So trying to explain this game has taken me a fair few tries, complete rewrites, so bear with me a second here. So a lot of your time spent will be poking between its various selectable stages, leisurely cruising down streams. You can choose to start or stop your boat, and even use items while it's stopped, but you can't actually turn back, meaning the decision is mostly about pacing. Though it does help if you're not feeling entirely confident about hopping down from the boat to the islands, which contain much needed supplies. Honestly, it's pretty scenic, up until you get jumped by baddies, as what ensues is a weird turn-based battle that'll see you swapping between choosing a target to shoot in the face, before having to engage in a series of acrobatics to avoid the enemies. It's honestly really neat in execution because all the enemies have at least 2 attacks at their disposal that they'll switch between, and some even have some other effects which may persist in the fight to make your life miserable. I'm looking at you, Windfish. Whilst the options at your disposal start out fairly limited in combat, there's a grand total of 8 weapons to unlock and upgrade, as well as an equal number of companions to find scattered across the various stages and camps, all of whom have some nifty passive and active effects to exploit. Mind you, these take money, and whilst battles does provide a fair share, they aren't the only obstacle that you can profit from. See, in each stage, there's a bonus platforming section that you can climb up or descend down into, which provides you a chest full of cones, this game's version of currency. And the primary reason I ended up wondering if there was an inordinate amount of traffic pylons piling up under the protagonist's hat. What's actually especially neat about these platforming segments, by the way, is whilst you can get through them and take damage, if you do manage to navigate the entirety of the little obstacle course without taking any damage, you actually get a bonus to the amount of money made. In any case, so long as you reach the end of the actual stage, you'll end up finding yourself with a one-time reward, whether it's a possible traveling companion, a boost to your max health, pigments needed to upgrade items, or even simply the way forward to uncovering more of the world. I mean, it's also plausible you'll run face-first into the game's various bosses, but they're pretty necessary too, given the final area of the game is only accessible once you've shot all of them into pieces. So, I found myself rather fond of the music in The Treehouse Man, as it was pretty relaxing to just sit down and listen to it as I was cruising along the river. That said, the more dramatic tracks do go alongside the battles quite well and help set the mood for dodging death. I also have so much good to say about the game's sense of aesthetic. Like, the variety between the enemies, the visuals of their attacks, and also the really neat death animations and just all the aspects I found myself enamored with. It's just a really good-looking game in an art sense, and manages to be pretty creepy in an entirely off-putting but cute way. Okay, so, I actually don't have anything bad to say about The Treehouse Man. I mean, it was a little bit rough to start with, but It's got a great story to discover, which gradually unfolds out and accompanies your journey as a character. And the gameplay itself and its evolutions are fun as hell. Each new area brings a new host of enemy types and mechanics to overcome, which I found a lot of fun to just gradually master. And the boss battles provide some rather interesting new mechanics, culminating in the absolute lunacy that comes with the final battle. But even beyond that, just the process of acquiring and learning the various synergies between weapons and companions, and just what worked well for me both in general and how to tackle specific situations was enjoyable to me. It's ultimately why I'd say the Treehouse Man is a crit hit, as even though there are a few slow segments near the beginning, while I was puny and weak, it only served to fuel my determination. It might also have left me with a bit of hype for after Gloom, but I'll review that whenever it's released. Hint, hint, dev, reach out to me so I can review it when it's released. Anywho, thanks for tuning in. If you agree, disagree, or just have something to say to me, feel free to comment. And for those interested in more indie reviews, developer interviews, podcasts, or a Monday TTRPG content whenever it starts up again, hit the subscribe button and the bell so you know when there's a new release. There's also a Discord. You can click the link in the banner or the description to become a part of our community, the Crit Hit Cauldron. Lastly, if you'd like to help support the channel, we do have a coffee running now to help supplement funds for our lovely editor Jack, and to make sure we can continue to provide quality content. Again, check the description and the banner for them links. Anywho, I'll catch you on the next episode of Crit Hit. Take care till then, folks.